11.6, we're going to work specifically on finding areas of circles and then more specifically finding area of sectors, which we'll get more to in a minute here. So to start off with, remember that the area of a circle is equal to the product of pi and the square of the radius. So area of a circle, the formula right there is A equals pi times radius squared. So a sector is, if you think about it, it's just kind of like a wedge or a piece of the circle. So if you think about a circle being like a pizza, then you have one specific part here that we're trying to find the area of. So think about it as trying to find like the area of a slice of pizza. Okay, so a sector is a region that is bound by two radii and an arc of the circle. So looking at the picture here that's on the right side here, you've got the radii, which are these two pieces, and then you've got the arc. So in this case, the arc is HP there. So to do that, there is a formula for it. The area of a sector of a circle is equal to the area of the circle times the fractional part of the circle that is determined by the sector's arc measure. So you're going to take the measure of the arc. So we'll look back at this example that is above here. Let's say that this arc here was a 60-degree arc, and let's say the radius was 10. So in order to find the area of that sector, I'm going to take the measure of the arc, which was 60. I'm going to put that out of 360, and then I'm going to multiply it by the area of the circle. So remember again, to find the area of the circle, it's pi times radius squared. So the radius of that circle is 10. 10 squared times pi is 100 pi. So we're just going to multiply these, okay, because it's basically 60 to 360 is 1/6. So it's 1/6 of the area of the circle. Well, since the area of the circle is 100 pi, I'm just going to go ahead and multiply those. So I'd have 100 pi over 6. If I could reduce that, I would. I could divide both of those by 2. So this is going to be 50 pi over 3. Remember, you can write it as 50 pi over 3, or you can write it as 50/3 times pi. Either one of those are accurate. So let's go ahead and do some practice problems on the next page. So the first thing asks you to find the area of a circle whose diameter is 10. Remember that area is equal to pi times radius squared. If the diameter is 10, we know the radius is 5. We're going to leave this in terms of pi. So we're going to have pi times 5 squared. So we're going to just leave this as 25 pi. There is no units on this, but just remember that when it comes to area, the units are square units. Find the circumference of a circle whose area is 49 pi. So if the area is 49 pi, and we know area is pi times radius squared, since the pi's cancel each other out, I know that the radius squared is equal to 49. So taking the square root of that, the radius is going to be 7. So it's asking us to find the circumference. We remember that circumference is either 2 pi r or diameter times pi. Either one is fine. The radius is 7. We know the diameter is 14. So the circumference is just going to be 14 times pi. Circumference is just units. It is not square units because you're just trying to find the length specifically. Find the area of a circle whose circumference is 20. So again, circumference is diameter times pi. So if the circumference is 20 pi, the pi's will cancel out, and I know that the diameter will just be 20. So if the diameter is 20, the radius is 10. So if the radius is 10, I know the area is pi times radius squared. So we have pi times 10 squared. So we're going to have 100 pi in this case. Find the radii of a circle that has an area of 100 pi. So if area is equal to pi r squared, And we know this is 100 pi. Again, those pi's will cancel out, and we know that the square of the radius is 100. So I'll take the square root of that. The radius is 10, and that's all it's asking me to find is the radius. The final problem on here is asking us to find the area of the sector that has a radius of 12 and a 45-degree arc. So just remember that to find the area of a sector, it's going to be the fractional piece out of 360 times the area of the circle. So since I know that this is a 45-degree arc, it's 45 out of 360, the area of the circle is pi times the radius, and in this case the radius is 12, squared. So this is 144 pi times 45 over 360. So you can do this a couple of ways. You could simplify 45 over 360 and multiply that by 144. You can go ahead and simplify and cancel on the diagonal before you do anything as well. It looks like you can divide both of these by 9. So 360 divided by 9, we know that this here is 40. 144 divided by 9 is 16. It looks like we can simplify both of those a little further and divide them both by 8. So this will be 2. This will be 5. So when I multiply across the top here, I'm going to have 45 times 2. 45 times 2 is 90. In the denominator here, I have 1 times the 5. So 1 times 5 is 5. We know that 90 over 5 simplifies to 18. Okay, and don't forget the pi there. If you want to think about it like this, you can think about it as 45 times 2 pi, so it'd be 90 pi over 5, but the answer is 18 pi, and that again is the area of that sector. All right, you're going to go ahead and you're going to practice the quizzes. Use the link on the next slide. Don't forget to do your algebra practice problem that is at the very beginning at slide 3. We're going to start doing that daily to get your skills prepared for Algebra 2. If you have any questions, go ahead. You know how to reach out to us. You can use the very last slide on this and raise your hand on it, or you can go ahead and you can send us an email. Either way, have a great day.